intern today. Well, we've met before through the exams, right? So I understand that what brought you in the first place was kind of pain in your low back, like kind of towards your buttock region on the left side, is that correct?
Yes, that's
Yeah.
correct.
Okay, so if you remember, what we did was we did a few exams. Some are called orthopedic exams where we have you kind of perform a movement and see if they exacerbate pain. The other type are neurological, where I kind of like did your reflexes and had you do a few other exams to test your neurological function. And what we found with those exams was that, especially in the orthopedic ones, when we had you move your leg in certain directions, it caused pain on your left SI. Okay, is that correct? Is like right around this
Right there.
area? Okay, so what that means is that when we couple that with your x-ray, we found that you have some sort of SI joint dysfunction. And that's actually the diagnosis that we're giving you, okay? What happens is when you have dysfunction of a vertebra, we call that subluxation, okay? And what that means is that there's a altered position of one vertebra on top of the other, and that causes abnormal spinal loads with your musculature and your fascia, and that can cause changes in function, okay? So what you have is a dysfunction of your sacrum, okay? Even though this big bone here looks different than the rest of them, this is still technically a vertebra because it's a part of your spine, okay? And where this part of your spine kind of touches your ilium, that's what we call the sacroiliac joint, okay? And this is where you're experiencing your pain, okay? So does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So what we're gonna be doing in your care plan is we're gonna be adjusting this bone, okay? And we're gonna be wanting to see you 3 times a week. And the reason why 3 times is because this bone, the sacrum, is kind of a stubborn bone to move. As you can see, it's a lot bigger than the rest of them. And that's because this is a really like strong weight-bearing bone. And because it's strong and weight-bearing, this is kind of stubborn, so we need to move it a lot. So when we adjust it 3 times a week, we're hoping to accomplish that, okay? And we're gonna do that for 4 weeks. And then we're gonna see how your pain is doing, and hopefully after then, we're gonna lower you down to 2 times a week for 4 weeks. And then after the 8-week period, we're gonna reevaluate and perform some more exams on you and see how you're doing with the orthopedic exams and neurological exams. Okay? Does that
Sounds great.
Sounds great? Good. So also what we did was we x-rayed you. And when we x-rayed you, we found a few things. So on your lumbar spine, which is your lower back, we took a measurement and we found that this curve comes out to 46 degrees. We define normal as 40 degrees. So actually, I would consider this, and the number tells us that you're hyperlordotic. That means that you have an extended curve in your lower back. So there's actually too much curve. And we think this is partly because of what's going down below. Okay, your sacrum has an angle too. That same bone that we're gonna adjust, the sacrum has an angle too, and this one is hyperflexed. So because your hips and your pelvis are rocking forward, your lower back is rocking backwards, and that's creating that hyperlordosis in your low back, okay? So again, going back to what a subluxation is, abnormal positioning of bone creates abnormal loads, creates altered function, okay? And the next x-ray that we took of your pelvis, let's see, next one here, we can see that your left SI joint, that sacroiliac joint, has a little bit of whitening on the margins of the joint, okay? What that means is that you have, where we define that as sclerosis, but what it means is that you have abnormal loads on this joint, and because there are abnormal loads, the body lays down more bone to kind of protect itself and make itself stronger, okay? And so it's trying to, your body recognizes that there's something abnormal there, and so this is the reaction that you get. And this is a bone reaction, and where this is a joint, and so you have extra bone where there is a joint, where there's supposed to be movement in joint, okay? And then that's what I have for your x-rays. Let's see. So how we're gonna manage this, I already mentioned that we're gonna be doing 3 adjustments a week for 4 weeks, but on top of that, we're gonna be doing some exercises. and we're also gonna be doing some like physical therapy modalities for you. I'm a really big fan of cold laser. I think it would be very beneficial for you, and the reason why is because cold laser promotes healing and promotes metabolism over the area that we use it on. So if we use the cold laser over your SI joint, we're hoping that it'll restore some healing, restore some function to that joint. Okay. Also, we're gonna release some of the musculature around the SI joint to get you to be able to move better. We noticed in some of the orthopedic exams that it didn't exactly recreate pain, but it did kind of make you feel like you had tightness, right? Or in some movements you just couldn't perform them, not because they hurt, but because you're just too tight, right? So we're gonna release some of that musculature so that you get a little bit more motion in your muscles. Okay, so, and again, at the end of the 8 weeks, we're gonna reevaluate you and perform the exams again, see where you're at, and then that's pretty much it. So, do you have any questions for me or any concerns?
No, I'm ready to start my treatment.
Are you? Okay, great. So we can start as soon as today if you'd like. I'll have you sign just kind of a consent form, and I'll present you the care plan on paper and have you sign it, and that's pretty much it.
Great.
All right.
Thank you.
Cool. Thanks, Mike.